Spartanburg and the world. Welcome to Lingua Musica. My name is Barbie Angel. I'm part of the Lingua Musica team, and as they said before we started the show, please keep your cell phones on for this show. We want you to not only, if you're on Twitter, text questions and comments in with the hashtag Lingua Musica, but send texts to your friends. Tell them to get on to linguamusicalive.com and follow along with the show and see our fabulous band, the Antibodies. It's going to be an awesome show. We have a great panel, and help support Lingua Musica, where music is the common tongue. So please, huge round of applause for the Antibodies.
Thank you. Above the fiery radiance, set the capital pure confidence. What he couldn't seem to show, he really didn't want to go. Never could live well enough alone. I'm just another hole in the ozone. With the facts thrown in his face, there was precious little time to waste. He never flinched at his coming fate. He just blew that satellite away. Never could live well enough alone. I'm just another hole in the ozone. Text Houston yet again. Is there a problem where your vendor is? I'm on a planet passing gas. I learned me fishing out how to rise. Never could live well enough alone. I'm just another hole in the ozone. Is that my phone? That's your phone. Oh, nice ringtone.
Okay, that was really fun. These folks are also going to do a couple more songs during the show and then a full-on set after the show. So talk about wicked sweet. Listen to these fantastic folks here on the panel, and I'm giving it over to Joe Kendrick from WNCW. Joe?
Hey, thanks, Barbie. Thanks very much. Welcome to Lingua Musica, live from the showroom in Spartanburg, live at linguamusica.com. I'm Joe Kendrick, very glad to be hosting this wonderful panel. Paul Riddle, original drummer for Marshall Tucker Band. Joe Bennett and the Sparkle Tones. David Lee, a producer, songwriter, performer. Jason Perlmutter, producer, DJ. We're all talking about music tonight. That's why we're all here, for the love of music. And I'd like to thank so many people that have been key to making this happen. Without John Watson on video, we wouldn't be here. Without Matt Glenn running the live stream to the internet, we wouldn't be here. Without Mike Lytle, without Ben Edwards, without Barbie Angel, without the Antibodies, none of this would be happening. Thank you for being here. And we're going to jump into the conversations. I'll be taking a look at your comments on this handy-dandy object here, and so I can interject those into the live conversation. We're going to kick it off with a little bit of a talk about some of the history of the music of upstate South Carolina, especially in some of the Piedmont of North Carolina. Everybody here from the immediate area. We're going to talk about some of their history, some of the bands from the past leading up to today, and the impact on the world. And starting off with you, Paul, of course, you know, everybody knows Marshall Tucker Band, or at least I would think that they would.
Thank you.
Yeah?
I'm just worried about my hair in this weather. Is
Yeah.
it okay? Is it all right?
Yeah.
Is it working?
Still got the hair.
I wasn't going to come because of the rain. You know, I'm just kidding. Just thought I'd So.
Well, you've got hair, so that's always a good thing. But give us your take on what you think that some of the impact of some of the musicians and the artists from this region. I mean, it's a rich history. It goes back into the 19th century.
Forgive me. I mean, I can't start naming players because I'll be here till this time tomorrow. I've always said that there's something in the red mud or the water or something around here that breeds great players. One sitting right beside me, Joe Bennett, I've been a fan of since I was a little boy. And Joe teaches here in town still, and I'd stand outside his room and listen to him teach guitar and go, Joe, please start teaching drums so I can take lessons from you. Because, I mean, he can play anything. I mean, that's just one that happens to be sitting beside me, And there's just always been this abundance of players in the area. And to me, they were always willing to share. I'd go see players, and when I was little, and all these great musicians, and from country players to jazz players to rock players, and drummers galore, dime a dozen. They're everywhere in this area. There's many, many great drummers, and so I don't know. I think it's just been a compilation of so many players that have influenced music in the country, even from the Piedmont area. I mean, from here all the way close to Atlanta, but up North Carolina, just all around. There's always been abundance of great players.
I've been reading the Hub City Music Makers book lately, which is still in print, printed in 1996, and a lot of the history and the specifics on a lot of the acts with us here or in the past are in that book, which is a great reference point. And Spartanburg in particular is going to be kicking off a Spartanburg Music Trail here in the next month or so, I believe, with a lot of the history sort of detailed, so you can kind of take a tour of the town. But it goes outside of the city limits of Spartanburg, of course. You and Joe both from the immediate area. David Lee from up in my neck of the woods in Cleveland County, North Carolina.
Amen.
In Mooresboro, more in particular. And a lot of his music has just come back into circulation in this wonderful compilation of your labels, the 3 labels that you have produced music on the songs and labels of David Lee, Said I Had a Vision, the Impel, Washington Sound, and Scope labels, and produced in part, or at least greatly in part, by Jason Perlmutter. And a lot of these bands early are active from the 60s forward. And David, let's hear a little bit from you about some of the trials and the success that you've had over the decades.
That it'd have been more trials than it'd have been success. I never did really have success till I met this man, him and Brandon Grieve. So they got things rolling back again. I had a 30-year dry spell. If you ever go, so I wrote for 30 years and had a dry spell the whole time. So when I started out writing, I wrote lyrics. I write the lyrics and I sent them out to the publishers. It seemed like it hit me in the back, coming back from the mailbox. So anyway, I get a letter back from the publishers, and the publishers have on it stamped in big letters, reject. Sweat pouring off me and wondering what to do. And so I wrote and got a list of publishers. And the list went, the very one that I sent off to last, that's the one that took me up. And it was Active Music in Miami. And I thought maybe they wanted me to send them a demo. And I recorded them a demo and sent it to them. And before I knew it, they had it playing. I got more airplay on that song than I did on any song I wrote so far. More different stations picked it up because they sent me proof that it had been, that they had played it. So anyway, I went on, and the song was called "I'm Gonna Keep On Trying," and then the album here is about I Had a Vision. But anyway, I started recorded, and I recorded the Ambassadors, and I recorded a gospel group. The gospel group was the Guy Q's during that time, and then Joe Brown, then Ann Sexton. That was the big one. Ann Sexton did it for me, and she's doing it for me now. And the song that the song that she sung was "You Letting Me Down." That song stayed up on WLAC Nashville for 8 months. It sold 90,000. And 90,000, it don't bring you much money back then. But 90,000, well, it's paid off all I owed. But anyway, I had to divide with the band and with the singer and all, and then I ended up like $100 in my pocket. But anyway.
Some things don't change.
That's right. So you're right. So that's what all started. And we had Ann Sexton back in Cleveland County lately, the 23rd of October. And we had a beautiful crowd. And the people responded to her good, and she responded back to the people. She sung, and she sung good. We was mighty blessed. And I guess this says something about the vinyl records. I used to sell those, and I started off with 45s. I started off like $7 or $8 or something, but for 45. But back during that time, you could buy a lot of 45s for $75. They just run like that was a lot for me. But anyway, that's how I started, and I stayed in business for like from the early 70s to the late 80s. So it was success. So that's mainly what I have to say at this time.
Well, you'll notice that I'm wearing my black slacks, and one of the songs of note from this fellow in the middle, Joe Bennett, it was Black Slacks, a big hit in 1957. Joe, you and I were talking before the show a little bit about some of the great talent in the region, but it didn't quite transfer into success from, say, other major metropolitan areas. It just seems like it didn't have quite the backing or it's just not the quite time or something like that.
Yeah, we didn't have actually the resources to back up. And the music that we played, I remember I lived in a place called Glendale, South Carolina. And I remember evenings when the sun was going down, it was getting dusk. You could see a lot of the old wash pots out across the valley down. And people would be sitting, they didn't have radios maybe. A lot of the mill workers didn't. TVs. And so what did they do? They made music the raw way. That's with guitar and mandolin, not on the radio, not by listening to radio or TV. But that music came from actually playing, and little kids seeing Daddy play, they learned to play, and so it was just came right up the family chain. And that's why there's so much talent in the Spartanburg area, right, even to this day. It rubs off on the kids, and we're glad it does. We're really glad it does.
That's how Toy and Tommy learned to play, was from Toy Sr. He played guitar, and they used to sit with their dad and play and sing, country music and stuff, and that's exactly how they learned to play.